Hey everyone, it's Jenna with Damnation Vault, and I am here tonight in Fargo, North Dakota at the Butler Machinery Arena with Stevie D of Buckcherry.
Hi Jenna, how are you?
I am amazing that you guys are here tonight. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm feeling a little groggy, but I'm coming to. I have my monster right over here, and I will take that. And here we go. So yeah, let's rock. What's going on?
All right, and let's roll. All right, so you released an album over the summer in June titled 10, or Volume 10.
Volume 10, yes. And it is in the works for probably a year. Josh and I had demoed over 20 songs, and I think in the 11th hour we always set aside some time to write and demo with Marty Fredrickson, our producer, who did our Hellbound album. He did years ago. He produced a song, Sorry, and then he produced our Black Butterfly album. But we had such a good experience reuniting with him on Hellbound that we set aside some days to write and record with him, and we ended up using everything from those sessions. So what you're hearing on that is what we wrote and recorded, and demoed in, I think it was like 10 days. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. But and then there's, I mean, not that the other 20 songs are going to go to waste, but a few of those ended up on bonus tracks on the European release, as well as a couple ended up on the Japanese release. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to hear what those are like, you're going to have to go out and find them on the internet, or maybe go to the import section over at your local record store. So enjoy.
Cool. Yeah, and you released a song called Shine Your Light.
Yeah.
And that's one of your singles out. Mm-hmm. And that song is amazing. And
cool,
so
thanks.
My question is, like, when you were in the creation process with it, like, what was your most memorable moment, like, when you were coming up with some of those riffs?
Well, usually the process was in the mornings. I'd grab some coffee and I'd sit down with Marty and we'd just come up with riffs. And what we do is we track everything that we can, top to bottom for a song. We get the arrangements. And that one, Shine Your Light, was our very first one. And it came together pretty effortlessly. I just remember coming in and saying to Marty, I really wanted to have more of a 80s kind of production, the cool stuff about Bob Rock and Motley and the Cult and Metallica and those kinds of tones, those big amps, those big drums. And that was one of the first riffs. Well, that was the first riff that we put together. And by 2 p.m, our goal is to, by 2 p.m, to have it all demoed and sent off to Josh so he can write lyrics at the hotel and come in and demo in the morning, his part. And mission accomplished. And that one came together pretty effortlessly. Some other songs weren't. We weren't as lucky, but that's the way a lot of the album went. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also have a couple of, like, party anthems. I'd call them.
Good
like,
Time.
Yeah, Let's Get Wild.
Let's Get Wild. Those songs came together quickly too. I remember writing Good Time in the hotel, and let's see. And I remember, I think Let's Get Wild I wrote there at the studio. At Sienna Studios there in Nashville. We do all this in Nashville now. But yeah, I think there was nothing really that we came up with. Feels Like Love. That was one that I wrote at a sound check. Well, it was starting to brew at a sound check before we went in to do the album. And that one came together pretty quickly too, but I had the riff on the road, brought it into Marty, and then what he does is he sprinkles his magical producer dust on it, and it becomes this awesome song, you know. But yeah, that's how a lot of them went.
Yeah, and then you have a music video for Good Time, which that looks crazy because you have two guys who walk into like this insane party, and then like some of the people's faces are turning into zombies and like monsters and stuff. So how did that all manifest?
Well, a guy named Tom Flynn, he's our director for the last 3 videos. He did Shine a Light, he did Good Time, he did and he did Summer of '69, and that was the treatment he came to us with. And it's funny enough, you know, like I wasn't too sure how that would play out, but once I saw the special effects, you know, it was supposed to be, you know, not serious. It was more supposed to be more tongue-in-cheek and I guess not whimsical, but more funny than, you know, serious, you know, Walking Dead, you know what I mean? These two, like a Bill and Ted, kind of go into a house, an abandoned house, and then they wake up, they pass out, and then they wake up, and there's this party where the girls turn into zombies and the band turns into zombies. But yeah, it was good, clean fun for the whole family, you know. I had a good time. Shot pretty quickly.
It looked like a fun video to shoot.
Yeah.
Is there any crazy stories that happened while you were on the set or anything like that? Or
no,
is it just like
no craziness. You know, it's pretty tame. You know, I'd say we're pretty tame these days. I remember we ran into a lot of trouble in the early days with different people coming to the video sets, and you know, I don't know. But now we're older, you know, and much more tame, and we're more focused on like getting in to do the job and getting out, you know, to be with our families, you know. So yeah, different day.
Yeah, and since you just mentioned Summer of '69, which is another amazing, like you covered that song, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And listening to your soundtrack earlier, like it was so cool because you were playing Judas Priest too.
Yeah.
Like Electric Eye and.
Yeah, we like to during sound checks, if there's time and we get all our stuff dialed in, we like to play this little game on our Facebook broadcast called Butcher the Classics. And so what we do is, without putting the song on, you know, it's just going by memory, like what, you know, and a lot of these we haven't listened to or much less played. Maybe we haven't played it ever, but we haven't heard it in maybe 20, 30 years, right? So, Electric Eye came up today, and then you got another thing coming.
Yeah.
Motley Crue has come up quite a bit, because we love those first 2 albums for sure. You know, we'll do the Cult. Sometimes we'll get a request. You know, like people always request Buckcherry songs, and you know that, and we do that all the time. You know, so
right.
You know, we butcher those all the time. So. Anyway, yeah.
Well, you play them better than a lot of like the bar bands that play. I have to say, like Crazy Bitch is one of the. If you go out to a bar, like I used to bartend, Crazy Bitch was honestly the most played bar band song.
Oh wow!
That I would hear out here anyway.
Yeah,
so.
It's funny that when it came out, I remember "Girls, Girls, Girls" was like the national stripper anthem, you know, strip club anthem, and Crazy Bitch somehow crept in there and took over for a little while. But yeah, a lot of people have sent videos of, from everywhere around the world of cover bands playing that song. I've seen it. Obviously, we've seen it at played at weddings. We were on a show called Tosh.0, and somebody played it at their wedding. So that he had those people on the wedding, and then we played Lit Up. It's taken on a life of its own. But it's weird. Like, a lot of bands don't play it right. I don't know why. It's all right there in the recording, but I think there's nuances that a lot of rock bands just don't hear. There's a big funk element underneath, and the rock bands don't maybe notice that. So I don't know. Maybe not.
Or maybe some of them are a bit tipsy playing bars.
Yeah, sure. Who knows? When it's
they have fun playing it, though.
Yeah.
That's what matters, I guess.
Yeah. Somebody's out there keeping the dream alive. So.
Yeah. So I have to ask, like, with Summer of '69, did that come from doing like some of your sound check shows, or is that one of the reasons why?
I think what happened on that was, before we play Crazy Bitch, Josh has a habit of going up to the audience during his banter and saying, "Okay, this is the last song. What do you guys want to hear?" And everyone starts screaming Crazy Bitch, and one time he just took the piss out of it and said, "What? Bryan Adams, Summer of '69," as a joke. And I know the song, from playing Butcher the Classics, So I went into it, and then the rest of the band played it because they remember it, and we played it through a verse and a chorus and stopped. Anyway, our manager had heard it, and he loved it, and he suggested, "I want you guys to work up a version of that for the album." So the rest is history. We got in touch with Billy, the other guitar player. He's friends with Keith Scott from Bryan Adams' band, and we just had a lot of fun. Sped it up, made it a little more punk rock. So.
Is there another song that you have fun playing that you cover, or with Butcher the Classics?
Well, we always, we've played a lot. We've done a handful of covers through the years. Rolling Stones, AC/DC, obviously. That's one of our favorites to cover. We also covered I Love It, but we changed it to Say Fuck It. And we play that as an encore every night. And that always goes over. The crowd response is always as strong as Sometimes Crazy Bitch, So... yeah, we have if we decide to put in a cover, it's always good, clean fun. During Crazy Bitch, we also do excerpts of songs like Proud Mary, I Can Tina Turner, Donna Summer. On this run, we change it up every tour, but this tour, there's Proud Mary, Bad Girls by Donna Summer, and Sex Machine, James Brown. So we're no stranger. We're not afraid to play a classic tune in our set.
Yeah. And I gotta ask like some random questions now. Like,
sure.
Over the years, like picking up going to a record store. Like, what are some of those albums that you have looked through that, like, the cover of it just really has stuck in your mind? Like, your most favorite album cover, I guess, and why?
I'm a big fan of obviously LPs, record covers, the Hypnosis covers from the 70s. Those artists, I don't know if it was one guy or a few guys in that company, but they did like those Pink Floyd album covers. I think they did In Through the Outdoor, Led Zeppelin, Scorpions, Animal Magnetism. Those are all classic. Album art from the 70s and 80s is all fantastic in my opinion, you know, especially the 70s.
Yeah, a lot of amazing music too back then.
Oh yeah. Well, it's you know, it's not, you know, rock used to rule back then. It's not as strong now, but all those, that was part of the fun of collecting albums, in my opinion, was going through that going through the cover, looking at it a little closer, you know, going through the liner notes and reading who they thank and the words, and you know, it's all a cool ritual for me. It's kind of, it's gone now.
And memorizing the lyrics.
Sure. Yeah, the pictures, everything. That, you know, like it kind of dwindled when CDs came out, and now that it's just streaming, that's all but gone now. You know, it's a shame, but I mean, it's made a resurgence a little bit.
Yeah.
Vinyl, but it's nowhere near what it used to be, you know.
Yeah, here's to hoping that the world will go back to physical things, because it's always amazing to have that physical thing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm collecting again, you know, like when we're near a record store, I'll go through and pick up something, you know, and so every tour I'll bring home a couple, 2-3 albums, you know, that I used to have that have since, you know, I don't even know what happened to I've had several record collections. I have friends that have, you know, basements filled, you know, they look like record stores, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and so you mentioned like Crazy Bitch has like this funk undertone to it.
Yeah.
So my question is, like, with your like inspirations throughout the years, especially from the 15 album to volume 10.
Yes.
Like, who were some of the artists that you really like took notes from over the years, especially for the volume 10 album, would you say?
Well, especially for the volume 10 album, I would say I really leaned hard on for my end of the production, I really leaned hard on a lot of what Bob Rock did in the 80s and early 90s. He did some Veruca Salt to Metallica, Motley Crue to The Cult. All those are big, strong productions. And what I would do was taking notes and making mental, you know, pictures in my mind of you know, what it sounded like, the big drums. Siri trying to cut in, get on the conversation. I would, that was from a production standpoint. Drums, bass, guitar, how the vocals sat on top of the whole mix. But for me as a guitar player, it's Phil Lewis from the legendary LA Guns. Yeah, I would say from a guitar standpoint, I would always I started with the classic, you know, the rock classes like Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, and Angus Young. That was my you know, my top 3. You know, I would I remember as I got to be an older teen, I liked Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, and I even, you know, dabbled in listening to Yngwie Malmsteen and Steve Vai, just to round out being a better guitar player. You know, I never really got snobby and said, oh, I'm not gonna listen to this guy because he doesn't, you know. I always tried to find something great about every guitar player, you know. So later, you know, I have this long story of of why I went backwards with guitar. But I got booed off the stage in Chicago when I was about 21. It was a blues bar, and it's because I was trying to shred over a bunch of blues changes, and I got booed off. And so what I did, I was crushed, and I vowed to never play like that shreddy stuff again. But I did. But I went back. I started with Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then I went backwards. There's this guy in Chicago named Dion Payton that was amazing. And I found the Three Kings, you know, B.B. King, Freddie King, and Albert King. And I would dabble in, I would listen to other guitar players, but I had a lot of ones that I would revisit. I would even like songs or bands like Sly and the Family Stone. I love the guitar in that, and Parliament. And that's where I get a lot of the funk guitar from. There's a guy named Tyree Judy that I knew in Hollywood that I literally, almost note for note, was that there's a funk guitar part in the verse of Crazy Bitch that is inspired by him. So I'll give you that. It's taken 20 years, but Tyree, there's your shout out. I played that part with him in mind, you know, and he's very Prince. That part is very Prince, Sly and the Family Stone, you know. Anyway, but yeah, I can go on and on about guitar influences, you know. Even the more modern ones. I like Eric Johnson, Eric Gales, those types of players. They're super tasty, and you know, they just have this gymnastic Olympic ability, you know, that transcends all the rest of the guitar playing around, you know. Yeah. Even rock. I love Brad Paisley, you know, country player. So Brent Mason. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And I also have to ask, because I saw some of your guitars out earlier.
Yeah.
Like, do you paint those yourself?
No. There was an artist. There was an artist. Well, Diamond Guitars gave me that Carina. It's called the Hail Fire, and they had a local artist in the South paint that. And they gave that to me at I believe Chattanooga. It was a gift. But I travel now with minimal guitars because I used to travel with like a dozen guitars, and I didn't need to, you know. I would switch every song. I had a rig that I didn't even know how to. It was so big I didn't know how to turn it on, you know. And now I'm really stripped down because I wanted it for me to I just wanted to concentrate on being the best player I could. There was years that it was all about the gear, you know. We were touring everywhere in the world, and we were, you know, not gonna lie, we were making a lot of money, and I was just buying lots and lots of guitars. Later on, my priorities changed, having my son, and I really want to be, you know, like, I still love guitar like I did when I was a teenager, and I still, you know, I'm playing all day long, and I just wanted to just concentrate on one, you know, like, take it all the extraneous bullshit out of the mix and just use one guitar and concentrate on being a great guitar player. So, and hopefully you hear that on the album, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So I play now with a very unremarkable Les Paul Custom from the 70s, and a 355 Gibson. So yeah.
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 Cool.
That's all I need.
Yeah, well, those are all of my questions that I have.
All right, cool.
Would you like to say anything else about Volume 10 that you want to get out to the world?
Volume 10 is still available to stream on all platforms. And go to YouTube to watch the videos. We have Summer of '69. That's just got another push going. So go watch Summer of '69 on YouTube right now. And then we are heading out on the road with Skid Row for the rest of the year. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in January, we'll be out in the UK and Europe. So keep your eyes on buckcherry.com for all your Buckcherry needs.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.